Hi, this is Laurie from To the Trade, and I have with me Maddie Landers. Hi, Maddie.
Hey, Laurie. Nice to
Tell
see
me a
you.
little about yourself.
Oh, sure. So, my name is Maddie Landers. I am in North Carolina. So, I'm currently coming to you from right in the center of High Point, and don't worry, it's ghost town out there. So, not as exciting as it was a few weeks ago. But I'm the marketing director for IDS, which is the Interior Design Society. And Laurie and I met maybe, I don't know, I've known of you for a long time.
Yes.
We met in person maybe like a year ago
Yeah.
and have just really enjoyed working with her and getting to know her more, and happy to be on the podcast today.
Well, I really do love IDS. A lot of the IDC members are also IDS members, and it's
Sure.
so great to see all of the events you guys do and watching your conferences, watching your events for your members and honestly seeing so many, great initiatives that you have for members and anything that helps designers. We're so excited to hear more. And I have some questions for you. Can you tell us a little bit about the mission of Interior Design Society and how it supports interior designers in this industry?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, IDS is specifically for residential interior designers. So, everything we do is catered to the residential designer. And the majority of our members are business owners. So, they might have a team of five, they might be a solopreneur, they might have themselves and an assistant. And so, we're really, our mission is really to cater to that small business owner who's running their own residential design business. But as an organization, our overall mission really is to use our collective voices to impact our design community and to do that through different pillars, which are, through relationship building, education, advocacy, design resources, business tools, and so on. So that's
And
what
you
we do.
do partner with some great brands that have amazing tools. Like I know Midoma, you work with Midoma quite a bit. It's really great to see the hive mind and how that is incorporated at High Point. Some of the things you might not know behind the scenes, there might be a meeting before one of those panels where an amazing amount of information is being shared and plans that will help interior designers with collaborations from brands, collaborations from software providers, collaborations from different organizations, and how that mindset really tells me a lot about Interior Design Society because not every organization wants to work in a collaborative way, and you absolutely have. What do you think that sets IDS apart from other industry organizations, and how do you communicate that through your marketing? Because you do so
Mm.
much.
Yeah, good question. We get this question a lot. And, people hear about IDS and they say, wow, they either have heard about us and have known about us for a long time. We've been around for 50 years, 51 years now, or they're just now hearing about us and maybe we haven't had a local chapter in their area and we spark their interest and they're calling and asking what sets you apart? Like, why should I join IDS? Why are you different? And, the answer typically is that we just have a really unique vibe. And I know that's a very generic term, but we have a very welcoming and supportive environment in IDS. And it is very important to us that we maintain that throughout our national organization, throughout our local chapters. And I hear time and time again that somebody will attend a chapter meeting. They've never been before. They don't know anyone there. They're scared a little bit, maybe, but they're stepping outside their comfort zone. They attend the meeting and they leave it going, oh my gosh, they were so nice to me. There were like seven people who came up to me, asked me what my name was, asked about my business, and told me to come back to the next meeting. So that is really there are lots of differences, yes. And I would say that is the biggest one that we just are everybody embodies that really welcoming, inclusive, shared mindset kind of attitude in IDS. And they know that that is who we are and that's what we expect.
I love that, and I think that that inclusivity helps, break that fear down so that
Yeah.
people can ask their really vulnerable questions, because if you feel
Yeah.
like if you're going to a meeting and you feel like you're not being welcomed, then the trust factor, you can't really get that back, you know?
Right. You can. And they're not gonna repeat going, they're not going
No,
to go to
going
another
back
event.
again. And if they
Yeah.
did, they're certainly not going to want to share vulnerable
Right.
information about their business to people that aren't making them feel
Right.
like
Right.
are safe to
Yeah.
share that kind of information.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes a lot in local chapters for designers to say, "Hey, I'm having a problem with my contractor," because they know everybody in this room, they could be potentially
Right.
going up against them for a bid down the road. And they don't want the person to be like, competitor to be like, "Oh, they have problems with their contractor. I don't know." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Yeah.
for a designer to be able to say that, the
It
vulnerable
is.
stuff. And so that kind of environment where it needs to be addressed from the top down, like, no, like you're going to be cool to each other. You're going to be
Yeah.
kind to each other. You're going to be welcoming to each other and you're going to support each other.
Right.
There's
Right.
not business for everyone.
There
How do
is.
we, work together to get that?
Yeah.
How do you approach marketing ideas to interior designers and trade professionals? What strategies have you found to be the most successful?
Ooh, that's a fun question. I ran the social media accounts for IDS for like 5 years. And a little over a year ago, we hired someone new, handed off to her, and she has just excelled in this area. And so our social media has just taken leaps and bounds. I would say we have a lot of success sharing our members, sharing photos of our members at events. And, we continuously get professional photography at every event we can so that we can share, most recent things that have happened. So we get a lot of success with just sharing our members' faces, but also sharing our interior designers' work. And we actually do that through a platform and through a brand. It's kind of like our sister brand called the IDS List. And it's consumer facing, but we use that to share all of our members' design work and try to attract clients to that designer.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
a pretty cool website, searchable directory, blog posts, lots of great imagery. So it's pretty cool.
That is really, really cool. And, I can say from my perspective that I think probably around the time you came on board, it was like I had seen IDS and then I'd not seen IDS. And then all of a sudden I was like seeing IDS everywhere. I was like, I'm getting served ads. I'm getting, there's seeing social media posts. So I think you're doing a fantastic job. And the content always looks fresh and exciting and good. So
I will pass that along to our marketing coordinator. She does an amazing job.
yeah.
And we do run ads, and those I don't, they've been very successful for us, and just helping to get the word out because,
Yeah.
like you said, some people haven't heard about us, and or we don't have a chapter in that area, and so those have really helped. So I hope if you've seen an ad that you've enjoyed it, and if you have any feedback, let me know.
I will, I will. And that actually leads me to and I think designers could use this tool too. How has storytelling played a role in how you work with designers? Because your story has, in my opinion, sort of changed in
Yeah.
recent years. It's a lot more tech savvy, a lot more approachable. And how did you guys craft that?
Mm. We had, like I said, we're 51 years old, and we have a lot of longtime members who are so loyal to IDS and have been members, since they started their design business 25 years ago when times were a little bit different, and
Sure.
there weren't so many designers coming to market, and there weren't so many designers willing to share ideas. And so I think that they have those longtime members have really stuck with IDS, and their stories about how their business has transformed through IDS is really impactful. And, take Shayla Copus, for example. She started her design business maybe like, I don't know the exact year. Sorry, Shayla, if you're listening to this, maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, joined IDS, made a lot of really solid connections. We, connected her with some people at market. She started doing speaking engagements with IDS. And now she has all kinds of lines. She has, the Chelsea House, a line with, several different brands, and has really just expanded her business into many different areas. And so that's kind of an example of that storytelling, like it's not like we're taking our members and pruning them. They are doing it themselves, but using IDS as that jumping platform.
like a
to just
sisterhood, brotherhood, and they are able to
yeah.
build that bond, and it gives them the confidence to get
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. And another example we have there are two designers in Dallas, Fort Worth area who met through IDS. They both, work as are both interior designers. They became friends and were in each other's weddings. And so that literally was just through meeting each other at an IDS chapter meeting.
I can tell you, I've been doing interior design community for 12 years, and my literal favorite thing that ever happens is when I get a text message from, like, 2 designers that met and were friends, became friends, and then they're together somewhere, like, they're on vacation together, or you're just like it feels so good.
It's
That
so cool. Yeah.
like real life, like these are, and that I try to encourage that as much as possible. Like collaboration and community really starts at being actual friends with each other and actually caring about each other. And it doesn't, take that long, farther to go from like colleague to friend. You know what I mean?
It really doesn't. I mean, we're already in such a personal business,
Sure.
your work life bleeds into your personal life every minute of your day, probably.
Sure.
So why not embrace that?
Yeah. Just
We're
embrace
not
it. Let it
working
go
in the
on.
world of
Yeah.
medical, or we're not attorneys over here. So
Right.
advantage
And
of it.
we all love art. We all love,
Yeah.
we all love a good cocktail. Oh,
Yeah, that we do.
yeah, we do. So how does IDS engage with its members to keep them involved?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we are continuously adding to our member benefits. And I think, at the base level, when someone asks, why should I join IDS? What should I do first to get involved? The answer is always going to be like, please, meet some of our other members, take advantage of those connections, go to chapter meetings, local chapter meetings, or come to an event at a market that we're hosting. And, that's often the first touch point. But we want to keep those members year after year and make sure that they are able to continue to take advantage of their membership, even as their business needs shift. And so, we're constantly offering new member benefits. And we don't nickel and dime people, it's not like you gotta pay for the upgraded
Oh,
package.
that's so great. I mean, I hate that. I hate that. So for
No, like, you're gonna get new member benefits every year. I promise you there's gonna be something new offered, whether it's a tour at KBIS or health insurance plan that, we now offer to our members, or some new discount on, furniture manufacturer, or a online tool that you can use for your business. So that's
that's
really, I think,
huge.
yeah,
That
really
is really
big. And
huge.
I'm sorry, I hope you can't
No,
hear my dog
it's
jingling
okay.
across
It's okay. I have mine running
office
around
staff.
too. So, which initiatives or campaigns do you think have been the most successful for IDS for your membership recently? Which ones are like these ones were really great? I would guess your conference is probably that's a recent one. The pictures were great. Everybody looked like they had an amazing time. You had great speakers. You had a good group of people there. People that have been friends for years now. So is that
Yeah.
always the major highlight, the conference?
Yeah, I have to say so, Laurie. I mean, that conference is just kind of like the peak of the year. It's like the Super Bowl for our members, and this year it was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We always go to a new location that is full of design inspiration. And so Santa Fe had been recommended to us by a couple of designers. And we heard, it's like that city that you've always wanted to go to. You're always interested in going, but you never really have a reason to go unless you just take it upon yourself to book a random trip. So we thought, we'll plan our conference there. It's pretty cool, pretty unique, lots of design inspiration, lots of architecture. But yeah, I mean, that's the highlight. That is what we work on all year long. And if you know anything about putting on big events, it's always way more difficult than you think.
Yes, so many moving parts,
Yeah.
so much going on, and so much going wrong all the time. All the time. What trends do you see for in the interior design industry, and how is IDS adapting to align with those new trends?
One trend that I kind of am seeing, and I don't know if you're seeing this too, Lori, but this is a trend related to business. I see designers saying, I don't want to be the designer that's doing 15 whole home projects a year. and everything's different and everything's hard and everything is super involved. And I see a lot of designers taking a step back and saying, how can I work smarter? How can
Right.
I set up packages for my business where maybe I'm spending half the week or a third of my week, or even, one day of my week doing simply color consults, 2-hour paid consults, paint consults, just different, different packages that they can basically like plug and play
Hmm.
to their clients. And so I'm seeing kind of a shift there. And that's not with everyone in the design business, but I think there are some people where, they have a lot going on in their lives and they've been doing this design thing for a long time and they are tired of working 60 hours a week. And so they're simplifying, but still, maximizing their profit.
Right. And that's part of that is like looking at the business and what is profitable. And
Yeah.
sometimes it advises designers where that profit is coming from. And that's always, I think, really, really interesting. I would say too that I'm seeing a lot of designers sort of thinking about how productivity apps, productivity, and productivity seems to be the main field. Like how can I set up
Yes.
any sort of automation
Yeah.
productivity hacks to make my life easier? It's just wearing too many hats.
Yeah.
And then even further, I think the wellness factor is so
Oh,
important
yeah.
for designers to have like that. They have to be able to compartmentalize a lot better than we do. We're not great at it. And so, being able to compartmentalize so that we're not I hate the idea of a designer spending, a sleepless night because a piece of furniture came in and it was broken. I
I
I
know.
absolutely
I know.
hate it that there are we know tonight there's gonna be some designer who is not
Oh,
sleeping
yeah. That's
tonight
getting a sleepless
because they
night.
just heard bad news and they don't know how to give it to their client. They're scared,
Yeah. Yeah.
so whatever tools we are always thinking like, how do we make that process easier for designers that that they will know how to handle those tough situations? Because sometimes you just need someone else's ear. And I know like we have both have groups and it's
Yeah.
hard because a lot of times the advice is like, just fire the client. But
I know. I know. You said that so much, and it's not always that simple,
it's not always that simple. And that's easy for you to say, but that designer has a mortgage, just like everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And,
Or, and if they've already put so much work into that project maybe, and
yes,
they don't wanna abandon all that time they've already spent on
yes. And would
cleaning
not
the
have
house.
any pictures, not have
Right.
any marketing tools from it, not have a review, the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you leverage events and awards and programs to promote IDS to the current members, or are you also trying to bring in potential members in
Oh,
that way?
yeah. Yeah, both. I would say we're always thinking about member benefits in general. So we're always trying to add to like what can we offer to our members. And so that applies for like our existing members, but we use those as a tool to gain new members as well. And one of those programs is our Designer of the Year Awards program. So we have a very established program. It's all residential design. So there are over 40 categories and, it's every space you can imagine, a living room at XYZ budget, home offices, outdoor spaces, kitchens, baths, etc.
I love I love that you do that. I was a judge on your last one.
You talk about it stay. Yeah.
Yes, I get it. And there were lots and lots of it's always so great to be a judge because you get to see the rooms and, read over. I really take it so seriously whenever I'm a judge because I know the design. I know the
Yeah.
real scoop that the designer isn't really in 100% control of the design. So I
Right,
try to
right.
read between the lines of like, what was this project like? Because sometimes it's not like the best project that I like to see win. It's more what were they thinking of that was outside of the box? What were they
The
dealing with? Like
story.
the
Yeah.
story and what challenges did they face? Because sometimes it's that designer who was doing something really crazy and unique, but you
Yeah.
know, they
Well,
were limited
for
budget for
example, our we have a category that's a Sherwin-Williams category. So the only requirement is that it has to utilize Sherwin-Williams product. And our winner this year was Joy Mayer out of Dallas, Texas. And her project was a teenage boy's bedroom that she redid. And the problem was that this boy had severe ADHD to the point where he, was not able to communicate very well, and he needed a calming place to go to bed and to wake up, and something he needed design. Going back to neuroaesthetics, he needed design that would help him, function. And so she
Course.
won that award because of that story.
Oh, and that I think sometimes the designers who are, and this is just like a little helpful hint to the designers listening, when you are taking the time to submit to these awards, take the time to write the story. Take the time to. We both had our dogs
I know. I'm like, I'm sorry, I
get
can't
the love. No, it's okay. Dogs need love.
laugh anymore.
I'm all
He
for dogs getting love.
He's still
Uh,
napping all day long, and now right now during the podcast, and he's needy.
But yeah, I think that's really important is that designers learn that there's a lot of considerations that, and a lot of times you do pick judges that understand this industry. So
Yeah.
we're looking for a lot more than just with the product. I mean, there's always somebody who can spend more money.
Oh, yeah. But there always is. There always is. But
Yeah.
that awards program has been a really great attraction for gaining new members, because we do require that you're a member of IDS to submit. So that's been a great generator. And people join so that they can submit their work, and could potentially call themselves an award-winning designer, nationally award-winning designer. And then our hope, and what tends to happen, is that they stick around, because then they meet the people that attend the awards gala with them, and then they learn all these other things that they can get out of
They become
IDS.
friends, and
Yeah.
then they're in each other's weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that actually leads me right into the next question, which is how does IDS support designers in building their personal brand and growing their business? Like, what are those kinds of tools look like?
Yeah, yeah, that is such an ongoing thing. When you're a business owner, you feel like you're constantly having to revamp your branding.
Always, always.
Your new headshots every year, or updating your website, or keeping your social media relevant, all of that. So yeah, that's a big thing. We actually just published on our member area on our website, Laurie's DIY guide to PR.
Oh, wow. Sounds awesome.
Fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those. I love any touch points that I think help designers, think about their business and how they're, because I think they struggle. We all know that the business part of design school is so small. It's usually class. And so, thinking about that. And we are going to be offering another one next month that will be like end of year checklist of all the things you kind of should go through. And it's just
That's
sort of
awesome.
like, are you giving your employees a bonus? Are you, what are your finances? Like, where were you most profitable? Those kinds of things. 'Cause I think a lot about, the interior design client and how do we get more of that market share?
Mhm.
How do we teach designers to, you know, really educate the market on what luxury products are in this industry?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so difficult because, in the fashion industry, we all know what the high-end brands are. But in the furniture
Yeah.
industry, the higher end brands are just custom, or they are a brand that doesn't have the same name that Prada has in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows that Chelsea House is like, Louis Vuitton
Right.
for,
Right.
for furniture. You know what I mean?
So true.
But
I'm the one guilty of always like looking for labels on people's sofas,
oh, me
wondering,
too. Me too. Me too. And I want to give the tools to designers to talk about it in that way. Talk about furniture in that
yeah,
way and why it is constructed and why it
this
is
is
better because
the
consumer doesn't
BMW
know.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. They
So
don't know unless unless they're a hobbyist designer themselves. Then in that case,
no,
they probably aren't hiring you.
because all those brands are behind a paywall that you wouldn't know they exist. And it's like we all think about, we have to think about it from a problem in our industry that, like, and I'm not picking on them but by any means, but Ashley Furniture is the number one furniture manufacturer in the
Yeah.
country. And like most people, if they think of high end, they're thinking Pottery Barn. They're thinking
Right. West
Target,
Elm.
West Elm.
Yeah.
And if you ask a designer, is that high end? A designer will tell you, absolutely not. Please don't ever say that again.
Like, is Target high end?
Exactly. So, but you can spend the same money that you would at Restoration Hardware, at, Pottery Barn, and buy something infinitely
The
better.
Ferrari.
Yeah, that would be the Ferrari and so it's a lot about it is about educating the market. And I think that collectively as an industry, we all need to do better at that because the consumers don't get it. And so
Yeah. No,
we
the
have to do
cloud
better.
sofa is not the Ferrari.
Right, right. And we have to keep on beating that drum and share the information and not just the pretty pictures at the end,
Right. Right.
but like
Yeah.
what
I
the
couldn't agree
designers
more.
know. So I think that
Mhm.
we'll have
And
a
that's,
lot of tools going
the
forward too to
proprietary
help.
knowledge that you have as a designer is that ability to educate your client.
Right. Well, I always tell everybody, like, you think about a designer, like just their social media. I like look at that as a nugget of what they've already spent money marketing, that the followers that they have, and I'm gonna just say because I follow interior designers a lot, that the average is around 1,500 to 2,000, 2,500 followers per designer.
Yeah.
And how many of those are actual clients? How many of those people have
Right.
never bought anything from you?
Yeah.
But how could you get business from those people? You know, and I think a lot of it is in education. Like, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that how why they would buy a sofa from you versus Pottery Barn. They don't understand really
Yeah.
that difference.
And that sparks, like, if you as a designer, I think that, like, if I were a designer,
Right.
not, and I probably will never be, if I were a designer running my social media account, I would do like little snippet videos of, hey, let's open up these sofa cushions and see what's inside.
Right.
Do you know what this material mean? Because that type of nugget, generates more questions from your audience. Your audience hopefully are people that could be potential clients, and
Right.
I'm never gonna learn the ins and outs of a sofa as a potential client. So, who am I gonna
A
call? I'm
lot of
gonna
those
call.
brands already have those images too, and you can just do a
Yeah.
green screen where you're just it's behind you, the image is behind you, and you're just talking about this is the layers and this is how it's constructed and this is why you buy from these are the brands that are, and you want to equate them to women buyers because they're the
Right.
ones buying furniture, so to fashion
Mhm.
brands. So you want to talk about
I
this is
love that
Prada,
strategy.
this is Louis Vuitton,
Yeah.
this is, equate it to what they
This is
know.
Coach.
This is Coach here, and here is like the Target bag.
Mhm, mhm.
You got, you know what I
Right,
mean?
got all your levels.
Yes, you got all your levels so they understand what they're buying and what they're actually getting because sometimes those prices are not really indicative.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not always clear, and you don't always get the full picture from the price tag.
So do you encourage to, because you have these members meeting and they're forming great relationships and I've watched it happen. Do you also collaborate with the IDS members on how they can collaborate themselves, how they can contribute to each other's shared marketing plans, I mean, I know there's so many coaches out there too, and I'm sure that there are some of your members are coaches, but do you teach them how they can collaborate together to share resources, or is that not part of it?
That's not something that we have explicitly done in person, but we have a virtual chapter where we have
Oh,
a ton
I
of
wanted to get into this, but
education.
this is so great.
So we have a ton of education provided through that virtual chapter where we bring in subject matter experts of all different areas. We bring in lawyers to talk about your contract. We bring in the social media expert to talk about your social strategy and on and on.
Yeah.
And so this is so funny, Maury, because literally just today we planned this. We do these round tables every now and then, and anybody can participate that is an IDS member. And we have one planned for December 17th, so here in a few weeks, and it's a way to basically what we do. We split everybody up into breakout rooms in Zoom, and we have a topic, and we discuss like, what are you doing? Okay, how can I mimic that? Do you mind sharing your resource for that? And it's just an opportunity to get some really, down nitty gritty into your business details. And if you come, that you're willing to share or that you're willing to accept others, stories or their way of doing things. And so it's really great. It could be really productive.
It can be, and I can just give you a tip, I don't know if in your planning, I belong to a little group here in Boston that does something very similar. And then we went to a meeting not long ago where they split us into groups. It was live, so it was people
Yeah.
together sitting, and they had to say one thing that they were trying to do for their
Mm.
business. So, like, what are you trying to change? And then in that group, could someone come up with an answer, or give them like everybody could go around and say, well, this is how I've tackled that, or this is how it could be like, I need to get
No.
more social media followers, and then
Yeah.
everybody would tell them how that they would get more social media followers.
I
So
love that. I
it
love
was
that.
really like very boiled down to like what is actually important to them right now. So that
Uh-huh.
was really,
Maybe we'll do that in December. You're right.
yeah, yeah. Are there any exciting now beyond this? Because now I've heard that and I'm excited about that. Are there any exciting initiatives and goals that IDS has for the future?
Oh, well, yes, we've always got like 100 things that we're juggling here at
I know you do.
so, this is more of an internal goal, but I'll let y'all in on it. We are about to launch an entirely new database and website. And so
Oh, that's awesome.
that's like a huge undertaking we've been
Oh
working
yeah.
on now for like over a year. So that's launching on December 11th. And I can't wait, but also I'm a little
I know. I've been telling you guys, I've been working on my database for a long
yeah.
time, and it's my favorite thing and my least favorite thing all wrapped up in one.
So there's just like a little bit of insight on what's making my head spin right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of
But
that.
it's so important because it does allow you to, really make sure that the right information gets to the right people. And I think that,
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of like just, marketing is so not one size fits all. And I don't, if I'm going to have an event in Boston, I wouldn't want to tell the entire organization having a really great CRM
Right.
where you're just telling people the important information that matters to
Right.
them. Or if they have a kitchen, you know,
Yeah.
practice, you want people who are more kitchen oriented to know about the kitchen information, that kind of thing.
Right. You can't, you don't want to bombard people with information that's not relevant to them.
Well, it's
So,
such a great thing that you guys have IDS. What are no, this will be your last question then before two little fun ones.
okay.
What can IDS members do to actually contribute to the organization?
Oh, okay. I love this question. And it's because we have just launched actually the IDS Foundation. So it
I
is a
know.
501c. Yeah, Laurie's like, I know, that's why I asked.
Thank you.
So it's a 501c3 charity. So IDS as a whole, we're a professional trade association. So yes, we're a nonprofit, but there's a different filing for those types of organizations. So we've opened our foundation, which is an actual charity, a 501c3, which means you can receive, tax deductions. You can make tax deductible donations. But what's really cool is that this foundation is going to be able to support designers at every stage of their career, no matter, what they're doing. We want to be able to financially support our members when they go through trials and tribulations. When they're starting their business, we want to be able to provide small business grants, perhaps, and have a small business grant application. We'll be able to provide a ton more in scholarships. We already give away about $56,000 a year in student scholarships. So this will allow us to do even more.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
we're really excited, and we just launched that, and so we're doing a big push December 3rd for Annual Day of Giving, and so that is one way, if you're looking to give back to the industry, you want to, feed into those who may be in, maybe be in your shoes, that the shoes that you were in 15 years ago. This is an opportunity to really to give back to those designers. And so we would love support in that area. We're going to have a big party in April and at High Point Market to celebrate the foundation. So if you're around, please come. It's going to be fun. Like most of our events are.
I think it's
Cocktails
fantastic.
provided.
It's so wonderful, and I love to see that there are, that is that opportunity for designers to get back because when you've built, if an organization has helped you build something for yourself and you've become super successful, it's so great to give back and help other really so many of the members in our organization. And I know yours mimics ours and probably in the numbers is 70% women, 30% men, many of them LGBTQ. Like
Yeah.
we're marginalized people,
Right.
so,
Right.
we need to make sure that the giving back to the organizations that build strong women-owned businesses,
Yeah.
strong LGBTQ-owned businesses to help the interior design industry, so those things are so,
100%.
so, so needed. So I'll just ask you the last question, just as a personal thing. What is your favorite thing that you've done for while working at IDS? What was your favorite event? Favorite? I know that's going to be hard because you probably have been to so many great ones, but which is the favorite one?
Okay, I do have one, and when this event happened, I knew it at the time. I was like, "This is my favorite IDS event that I've been a part of." And not to say that all the rest of the events were not amazing, but this one I think just really was a culmination of a great team effort. It really just, it speaks out to what IDS is, and that was our 50th anniversary celebration, which was in 2023, last year at High Point Market in October. And so that was incredible. We had a huge party at center stage. We had a band, we had, food and drink, and then we incorporated local artists and
Oh,
artisans throughout the event. So we had, a sculpture artist, we had a painter, we had somebody who does textiles and reuses, upholstery fabric, somebody who was did woodwork. And we really got the community involved in any way we could, and we had 800 people come to that event,
wow.
and we just celebrated IDS turning 50 years. A lot of people didn't realize how old we are and
I
how
didn't.
a
I had no
history.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That is so, and I love those pinch me moments,
Yeah,
because
it was that. It was a victory moment, and everybody was there because they were so proud of IDS, and they were there because they had interacted with IDS at some point. Maybe they've spent 10 hours a week the last 5 years, doing IDS things. Maybe they've spent 10 minutes this last week at High Point Market doing IDS things. It doesn't matter. They were all there because we've had an impact on them in some way.
right, right. And it must feel so good that you're giving back in that way and helping.
Yeah.
You're really helping designers change their lives and make their best businesses better. And it has to feel good to see all of it there in one moment. You're like, okay, I've got a
Yeah.
snapshot of 800 people we've helped.
Yeah.
800 people. That's huge.
And those
You
were
know?
the ones at High Point Market.
I know those are just the ones that came this particular market because
And
not
it was a
everybody
Monday
comes to
night of
market.
market too. It was, Monday nights are, people a lot go home Mondays. So,
Oh, I know. I know our last party was, on a Monday.
oh,
So,
God.
yeah, totally get it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Maddie. This was so great. And I hope that all of you listeners have learned a little bit about IDS, what they do, how they do it, and how they can help you. Talk to you later and be back here on Tier Designer to the Trade.